Hello, dear viewer, it's me, your landlord. Get out right now. I made a video ranking my viewers' favorite albums ever, and now it's time to rank my viewers' least favorite albums ever. Some great answers in here, one that I think is actually just correct, as well as some horrible, borderline unacceptable answers. Do note that if you'd like to participate in these videos, I don't know, maybe subscribe so you don't miss the post next time. Anyway, enough shameless plugging. Let's dive into the video. Your local metalhead says Lulu by Metallica. Yeah, this is a great answer. Actually, it's a phenomenal one. This is one of the worst things I've ever heard. You'll quickly notice as this video progresses, it stings all the more when the atrociously bad album comes from a band with an excellent catalog otherwise. This, from the Masters of Puppets guys, it's absurd. This is crazy stuff. Phenomenal answer. Tib1104 says, Welcome to the Madhouse by Tones and I. I'll be honest, I couldn't actually get through this one. I know it's the second album of the video and I'm already defeated. Yeah. This seems almost purposefully bad, like it was written as such, I think. I genuinely believe that she went into the lab and carefully, like a fucking brain surgeon, flawlessly created the worst thing imaginable. This is a phenomenal answer. Alex Derbyshire 9735 says, Fashionably Late by Falling in Reverse. We're on a real hot streak here, gang. This is also indescribably bad. There is, however, actually one singular decent track on this project. Game Over, I believe. Everything else, holy fuck, is it bad. Again, it's hard to really put into words, but my god, how do you even make something this fucking bad? My bigger question is how a decent song actually ended up on here. It's like, it means they can write songs. How did they accidentally make one listenable song? Is it an Easter egg? Is it a clue? Are they laughing at me somewhere? Phenomenal answer. Chum Eater 1 says GNX by Kendrick Lamar. This guy clearly eats chum. I mean, come on. This isn't a hip-hop classic by any means, but to call this the worst shit you've ever heard, I don't think I believe you. It's probably my least favorite of his albums, but not a bad album by any means, I wouldn't say. No way. Ragebait. Abby Fruitcake says Sempiternal by Bring Me the Horizon. Awful album, it's so cringe. Yeah, it is pretty cringe. I can actually agree with that. It really is the soundtrack to all those Alpha Dog Wolf edits. But I don't think this album is completely terrible. It's not for me, but I can, if I really squint my eyes, see the appeal of this album. This is a good answer, but no higher than that. Stickmen Production says Remain in Light by the Talking Heads. You can't fool me, Stickman Productions. I'm familiar with your game. This is Ragebait. Acid Bath Lover 26 says AM by the Arctic Monkeys. Love their early stuff, but AM is an abhorrent creation and felt like a 12 gauge to the skull. Really? I don't think it's that bad. I agree it's not up there with some of their earlier projects, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as you're making it out to be. I'm not a huge fan of the record, but were I kidnapped and strapped to a chair, this would not be an effective torture method. Does that make sense? I'm going to give this a bad answer. GM Harry says Vultures 2 by Kanye West. Yeah, this is definitely up there. It actually hurts my heart to watch Kanye West descend into just madness. It really does. It's the same case like with the Metallica records. I know what Kanye can do. He's done it many times. The college dropout, graduation, late registration, the life of Pablo. Come on. To watch someone completely lose their talent, it just sucks, man. I hate this album more for its impact on his legacy than I do the music. Though he's doing a great job at destroying his legacy by himself. This is a phenomenal answer. Chili Dog is Here says The Brave by Tom MacDonald. I can't say I'm familiar with the great Tom MacDonald, but holy shit was this bad. This is almost unbelievable. I think they were trying here, though. It just seems they had literally like nothing to say and still try to put out a political hip-hop record. Almost otherworldly bad. This is crazy. Phenomenal answer. CZX RLG says Saint Anger by Metallica. Same things I said before. I know how good Metallica can be, and this just doesn't even seem like the same band to me. Phenomenal answer. No Brain 127 says The Wall by Nostalgia Critic. This seems to be some YouTuber's parody of The Wall, so it's hard to rank it next to fully produced shit like Saint Anger and Vultures 2. But out of that context, I mean, this is fucking horrible. I don't know who this is, but from a musical standpoint, this is almost unacceptable. Good answer, because it's a YouTuber, but this fucking sucks. Ellie Jojo MacD says Self-Titled Record by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Did you know Mr. Anthony Kiedis is a self-proclaimed pedophile? He said it in his own autobiography. I had no idea, Ellie Jojo MacD. Thank you for spreading the word. I think more people should hear about this. I've said it a couple times now, but this album sucks balls. There are no good songs on here. Don't let anybody fucking fool you. This is a valueless project. I would rather be disemboweled than have to listen to this album again. This is an effective method of torture. This is a phenomenal answer. The Internet Duke says Father of All by Green Day. Coming into this video, I thought this would be the worst answer. But there's actually something worse on this list. Maybe it's because I'm not a particularly huge Green Day fan in the first place, but fuck, is this just a humongous leap in the wrong direction from their other projects? Unlistenable album, for real. Phenomenal answer. Bill Weber 4826 says The Big Day by Chance the Rapper. This feels like too safe of an answer for me, Bill. This album is laughably bad, I agree, but I think it's so bad that it's kind of got some charm to it. It's almost funny, I think. This is a good answer. The Real Savage 1634 says 17 by the Island Boys. Same kind of thing as that YouTube critic guy. I can't take this as serious as I'd take something like Father of All. This is just TikToker rap garbage, and nothing more than that. It's really bad, it's terrible, but what do you expect from two brothers that make out on camera for money? You know what I mean? This is a good answer. XX Snowy XX says Pablo Honey by Radiohead. If there were a Pablo Honey hater competition, I'd like to think I'd do pretty well. Top 10, maybe top 5 if I was on my A game, but I don't think this is quite as bad as even I make it out to be. It's comfortably the worst Radiohead album, but it does have a couple good songs and nothing that truly makes me want to rip my hair out of my head. A couple songs get close to that, but none quite hit the threshold, I wouldn't say. This is a good answer. I Can't Say That Name says My Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. Are we really going to try to rewrite history here? I know he sucks now, I'm fully aware of that, but when we start going back to his genuinely fantastic projects and we criticize them this harshly, I think we're losing touch. I think this is rage bait. I'm not buying it. Cheeto272 says Ratitude by Weezer. Wow, this is horrible stuff. The Lil Wayne feature is pretty funny, but it's not even funny in practice. It's kind of just a funny idea. This was not fun to listen to at all. This is terrible. Phenomenal answer. Captain Flappy Arm says Results May Vary by Limp Bizkit. I mean, this is abhorrently bad. The Snoop Dogg feature is the icing on the pile of dog shit. Or really, it's the pile of dog shit on the pile of dog shit. I can't even believe this exists. It's an hour and 8 minutes of actual trash. 0 bad songs, all terrible songs. This is a phenomenal answer. Benton Food 2 says American Heart by Benson Boone. Yes, this sucks ass, but I don't think it's quite up there with the worst albums ever, I wouldn't say. I think this does have a target audience, and sadly, I don't think it's actually a single person watching this video. It's kind of mindless garbage, to be frank, not really meant to be criticized or analyzed, but more meant to be used as like background music, radio trash that you and I would probably never listen to. This is a good answer, but not quite phenomenal. I can't leave Bring Me the Horizon next to Benson Boone. It looks a little uncanny to me. I'm moving that one down to the decent answer tier. Isolated Anomaly 5108 says Revival by Eminem. Man, I remember the day this shit came out. Rick Rubin produced this record. That's pretty fucking crazy. This is both of their worst projects. This is completely empty, almost shockingly so. So little is said on this album, it's pretty crazy to see. This is the worst of all time contender, for sure. Phenomenal answer. Alexander TV1 says To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. I listened to it and it just didn't seem that good, though I'll probably give it another try at some point. I would definitely suggest another try, big man. This is Rage Bait tier for sure. It's one of the greatest albums ever recorded, just straight up. I can understand not seeing that, but to see it as one of the worst is just, it's incorrect. This is Rage Bait. Marcus Stein says F sharp A sharp Infinity by Godspeed You Black Emperor. It's literally unlistenable. Unlistenable? Mark, Revival is unlistenable. Lulu is unlistenable. The Brave is unlistenable. This is not unlistenable. Again, I can understand not liking this. It's a very obscure and almost pretentious style of music, but to deny the beauty of this album completely, it's hard for me to do. This is a bad answer, but not quite rage bait. I can see the struggle. A Nature Guy Till says Risk by Megadeth. I think Super Collider is slightly worse than this, though that is directly comparing dog shit to horse shit. This sucks ass. This is a phenomenal answer. JMan9030 says The Click by AJR. Indie slop with enough millennial cringe to summon a portal to adult Disney hell with people who wear adulting is hard t-shirts. I almost can't say it better myself, but you made my exact point. It's just not for people who really enjoy music, I don't think. It's for people that mindlessly drone around Walt Disney World with Mickey Mouse ears on their head. It's got its demographic, even if it's not me or you. I can at least appreciate that. You know what I mean? This is a good answer. Yak Rory says The King of Limbs by Radiohead. It's 100,000 times worse than Pablo Honey. You're insane. Don't get me wrong, I think Pablo Honey kinda sucks, but The King of Limbs is borderline unlistenable dog shit. I strongly disagree here, Yak. I too once hated The King of Limbs, and I can agree the studio release is pretty mediocre, but give The King of Limbs from the Basement a listen. It completely changed my perspective on that album. It trims some of the stinkier songs off that record, adds some B-sides that are pretty great, and just comes off much better live than it does from the laboratory. And it's worse than Pablo Honey? No fucking way, man. I can't even slightly agree with that. This, at the very least, is creative. It's ambitious. Pablo Honey is actually just the most generic rock shit I've ever heard in my life. This, I think, is a bad answer. Sly Say says I Am Music by Playboy Cardi. I Am Music? More like I Am Ass. Am I right, dear viewer? No, I don't think this is in the discussion, to be frank. I think this stinks, but I know there are many fans of this guy out there. I don't think it's his best work, but I don't think it's a worst of all time contender. No way. This is a decent answer. Ether Pumpkin says Dark Side of the Moon Redux by Roger Waters. As someone who was first introduced to music as a whole by Pink Floyd, and especially Dark Side, listening to the Redux feels like learning your whole childhood was a complete lie. We've arrived, dear viewer. I bet you've been on the edge of your seat waiting for me to put something in that tippity top tier. Well, wait no longer, my friend. I think this is actually the worst album ever recorded, and I can't believe I didn't mention in my other video about this. This is seriously just actual trash. He took a beautiful album, one of the greatest albums ever recorded, and actually, not metaphorically, but physically, took a giant fat shit all over it. He didn't miss a single spot, all 40 minutes covered in shit. This is insultingly bad. I don't know how or why this was fucking released, but I pray someone changes Roger Waters' Spotify password and stops this from happening to animals. Or worse, wish you were here. Correct answer. Bravo, Ether Pumpkin. Ash the Wolf 8811 says Adam by the Smashing Pumpkins. I'm a huge fan of their early work from Gish through Machina, but when I first heard this and some of their newer work, all I could think was, damn, what happened? You and I are the same here, Ash. I've gone through this whole fiasco myself. Siamese Dream, a genuine top 5 album for me, to Adam is perhaps the biggest fall-off I've ever witnessed in my 22 years of living. Unacceptably bad, pretentious trash made for nobody but Billy Corgan himself. Phenomenal answer, absolutely. Rusty1537 says OK Computer by Radiohead. Rusty, this concerns me. I've seen you in my comments before. I've known you for your good takes. So I'm going to take this as rage bait and assume you haven't completely lost your fucking mind. Rage bait. Scary Harry says Total Xanarchy by Lil Xan. This is one of the worst things ever. I don't have much else to add. It's offensively bad stuff on here. Every song here actually gets worse. It's pretty wild. Really crazy experience. This is a phenomenal answer for sure. Caden Loves Music 72 says The Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails. I just don't see the appeal. It sounds like nails on a chalkboard to me. Perhaps my eyes deceive me, Caden, but that appears to be a Slipknot profile picture. If we want to talk about nails on a chalkboard, perhaps we should start with that. No, on a serious note, I can actually understand this take. It took me a couple listens to really start to love this album, and to be honest with you, the music isn't what I love about this. The story it tells I find much more profound than the actual instrumentation. I can understand this take, though I heartily disagree. I'll give it a bad answer. Albatross74 says Uma Guma by Pink Floyd. Really? I mean, this isn't very good. It's probably their worst album, but I don't think anything Pink Floyd put out before they split is a contender for the worst ever. I get it, but I think there's some fun tracks on here. This is a decent answer. JackFruitSafe6254 says Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. No way, Jack. This just isn't that bad at all. It's radio music. That's all there really is to it. It's not trying to be something it isn't. It's just kind of bland pop, mid stuff. I can't hate on this that hard, I don't think. Decent answer. AV7 says Gore by the Deftones. This I can get behind. Comfortably the worst Deftones album, coming from a pretty big fan of the band. I like some tracks here, don't get me wrong, but top to bottom this album feels like it lasts for fucking years, man. It's just really weak from these guys. This is a good answer. Jack's Not Online says Genre Sad Boy by Machine Gun Kelly. The only sad boy that entire listen was me. Well, don't exclude me, Jack. I'm also pretty fucking sad. I was devastated the entire time. Why would two people make an album this bad? This feels purposefully bad. I think MGK is trying to trick us all after Eminem called him stupid a decade ago. This is horrifically bad. This is a phenomenal answer for sure. Alec9430 says Devil Without a Cause by Kid Rock. I think albumoftheyear.com user Kusa the Fox put it best here. He says, White People's To Pimp a Butterfly. It's a politically charged album with literally nothing to say. Like, actually nothing. Lyrically, this is one of the worst hip-hop projects I've heard in my entire fucking life. This is a phenomenal answer for sure. George Maddox 9660 says Pink Tape by Lil Uzi Vert. No, I don't think so. It's not great by any means, but I don't hate this project. There's not really a standout song on here. Though the Chop Suey cover is really fucking bad. I'm not sure how that made this album, but I don't think this whole thing is terrible. It's bad, but it's not terrible. Decent answer. Troy22344 says More Chaos by Ken Carson. I couldn't make it through this whole thing, I'm sorry. This stinks, but I think it's more boring than it is bad. It's just super generic hip-hop, both lyrically and production-wise. I don't think this is one of the worst, but I don't understand why this album is even slightly relevant. This is a good answer. Moon Muppet says Origins by the Imagine Dragons. This is a phenomenal answer. Free me from the clutches of the Imagine Dragons and the rest of this garbage music. I don't know if this is the worst album they've ever made. I think the one with Thunder might be a little bit worse. But fuck, this is bad. It's radio trash, but radio trash that genuinely makes me fucking squirm. I hate it. Please don't make me listen to the Imagine Dragons again. This is easily a phenomenal answer. And that's all I have written here. Some real stinkers today. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Please give me more ideas. I'm still pretty much out. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.